So the first method to unpin a razor is using a Dremel. And so I have a Dremel with a flexible shaft extension here, and the Dremel itself is actually clamped in a vise, so I'm not worried about it moving around or anything. And I have a standard cutoff wheel on this Dremel here. And basically what I'm going to be looking to do is to more or less shave off the top layer of this pin here, more or less the peen of the pin, right? Hopefully we'll see our washer pop off, or either that or we'll just grind it right down near the side of the scale here. So let's see how it goes. Don't forget the eye protection. So, you actually notice that that washer actually popped right off once I got down past the peen, sorry. So the next thing I have here is just a scrap piece of wood with a hole drilled in it. Now some people do this up on a vise, but I like to just do it on a piece of wood here. That way I'm not worried about the razor falling anywhere else off of my vise or anything like that. What I'll do is I'll position the other pin, the other side of the pin, on that hole here, and then I'll just take a small punch and hopefully I can just pop this pin straight through. You see that immediately I was able to punch that pin straight through, and I have fully released these scales from each other. Now this one was pretty easy because these scales were more or less falling apart, so that was kind of easy, and it may be a little bit more difficult if you had a set of intact scales. The second method to unpin a razor is by using a drill press. Now I could take it right to a drill press, but I found that the drill bit tends to wander a bit if you try to just start drilling a pin out right away. So I found that if you score the pin head with a Dremel in an X-shaped pattern, it guides the drill bit down in the correct manner. So I'm going to do that real quick. So now we're ready to take it to a drill press. Alright, so here we are at the drill press, and this is just a matter of drilling it out, trying to keep it as in the center. I'm just using a 1/16 inch bit here. Some scrap wood underneath the razor. I use scrap wood a lot. It's just soft pine, so it helps with vibrations and all sorts of things. So, alright, so we'll see how this goes. Alright, so we've drilled out the pin there, and It's pretty much just a little bit of the pin that remains in there, but at this point it should break free fairly easily. So even though I slipped up a little bit on the drill press there and drilled out a little bit of the horn, this can easily be this would easily be able to be sanded back down, and then the washer, when I repin, would actually cover any imperfections around that drilled out area. I've actually been able to save original washers using the drill out method, but sometimes it doesn't go quite as perfectly as you hope for. I wanted to bring up one more way of unpinning a razor. I've actually never done this before because I don't own a pair, but I wanted to show an example of what I understand most people do who have tried this, and that's using a pair of flush cutters. To show an example of this, I just have a pair of wire cutters here. But the difference between a wire cutters and flush cutter is that one side of a flush cutter is completely flat and the other side has a bevel on it. And so what that allows you to do would be to potentially get that flush cutter between the scale and the washer. And if you are able to do that with a flush cutter, you could actually clip the entire pin right off. And so some people have had luck doing that. Personally, I just haven't tried it yet. And I do find that the Dremel method is probably the easiest way to unpin a razor while keeping the scales intact. So that's just an option if you don't have a drill press or a Dremel. So this concludes our unpinning section, and from here we'll move on to blade restoration.